Hello, hope everyone's having a good day. My name's Andrew Connors and welcome to this month's edition of Minding Your Business. I'm a managing director here at Fairport Wealth, and this is a video newsletter that we put out each month for business owners and the advisors that serve them. And a question I want to ask today is, what if you could look into the future? If you could actually look into the future, what would you do with that knowledge? And so a question I'm going to ask, and it's a bit of a rhetorical question, is if you're working with a really good accountant, attorney, or financial advisor, wealth manager, they should be able to help you have conversations that allow you to look into the future. And so for today's discussion, we are going to do exactly that. Today's topic is a really important topic. It's a financial wealth planning, tax planning topic around pending estate changes. And this is a really big deal, we think, that is not quite on people's radars, and if it's not, it definitely should be soon. So to give you some perspective on what looking into the future looks like, we got to take a step back and look into the past. And so in 2017, there was passed what we call the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And this created significant tax cuts on income tax, estate tax, and gift tax. And from an estate tax standpoint, what this tax cut did was roughly double the estate exemption. So it went from roughly 5.6 million to roughly over 11 million per individual, and it has been adjusted each year for inflation. So currently, it's actually at $12.92 million per individual, or almost $26 million for a married couple. Now, most people probably watching this video are going, why is Andrew telling me this? My net worth isn't over 26 million. I don't have an estate tax issue. And this is where the rub is. This is where the blind spot is. So if you're a successful business owner or frankly a wealthy family, this is a big deal. At the end of 2025, which will be here before we know it, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act is going to sunset and expire and revert back to what the inflation adjusted levels were in 2017. And this is a big deal. And it's a big deal because most families, most business owners don't have a really firm understanding of what their net worth looks like today. When you think about your business, real estate, investments, insurance, personal property, all of those things roll up together, create what is your net worth and what is your potentially taxable estate. The other blind spot is most business owners really what we see is lack clarity around what might their net worth then look like in the future. If you have a successful business and you're doing well, hopefully your net worth is growing. And this creates a confluence of a big issue that's coming up is we have a situation where because of the significant decrease in the estate exemption and growing net worth among successful business owners, you are likely and potentially could be in a position where you have an estate tax issue coming down the pipeline and you just don't even see it coming. Going back to let's look into the future. So with that said, what we wanted to do was just share some potential solutions and things to think about. So first off, if you're working with a financial advisor or wealth manager, what you want to do is build a net worth statement that reflects what your entire financial landscape looks like today. Insurance, business, investment, all of your assets. And then assign growth rates to those, and that will help give you some perspective. What might my net worth look like 1, 3, 5, 10 plus years down the road? That's going to start giving you some clarity around what you're worth down the road and then what your estate tax exposure going forward might look like. That then puts you in a position where you can make some informed decisions around different paths that you might want to take rather than reactionary decisions. And frankly, reactionary decisions never end up well. So when we think about some steps that you can take, step one, if you're not already doing it, start leveraging family gifting. You can currently, as a married couple, gift $34,000 a year to anyone you'd like. And just if you're not doing that, just the act of doing $34,000 a year to all of your family members, that can be a great way to start to get some of today's and future assets out of your estate and start to help skinny down your potential estate tax exposure. If you're already doing that, you might think about shifting into a higher gear of gifting and maybe gifting in a little bit more aggressive manner. Maybe you have a son or daughter who's looking at buying a house. An aggressive gift might be saying, hey, I'm going to provide you with a low interest rate loan or an interest-free loan potentially to help pay for that house or the down payment on that house. And how this being structured as, call it an intra-family loan, can be a great way to get net worth out of your estate now and benefit, frankly, the next generation in terms of them being able to afford a house, for example, and not having to have the associated high mortgage rates that we find ourselves in today. A second strategy to think about is what we call a SLAT, which stands for a Spousal Lifetime Access Trust. And these are something we've had a lot of clients get involved with. And so SLATs are irrevocable trusts where assets are passed from one spouse to another for the benefit of the other spouse and then designated future beneficiaries. And SLATs might make sense for couples who still want to be able to access these assets while they're alive and while they're married, and take advantage of the estate exemption while it's at these really high levels. And this window of opportunity is open, but it's closing. And you might be saying to yourself, Andrew, you're telling me something about the end of 2025. I've got plenty of time. And I would say, you have time. I would not say you have plenty. Putting in place planning like this takes time. And so you don't want to leave it until the last minute. Another thing to think about is what's called a GRAT, which is a Grantor Retained Annuity Trust. And if you're a business owner, this is often another great opportunity that's often missed out on. And so you are able to transfer a portion of your business, which is usually one of your higher appreciating assets, into the GRAT. And doing so, A, gets it out of your estate, excludes that appreciation going forward, but then you are able to receive a present value interest of the annuity on a going forward basis in terms of the business distributions. And these things are things that, working with your estate planning attorney, they can really also help educate you on how to implement these and how they make sense. So far we've talked about family gifting, spousal access trusts, grantor retained annuity trusts, and another type of trust to think about is a life insurance trust. So if you're a business owner and you have insurance, when you pass away, depending upon how the insurance is titled, the proceeds from that will end up in your estate. And that, again, in this circumstance, is something ideally you don't want to have happen. So by transferring the insurance into a life insurance trust, those proceeds can then be excluded from your estate, but still serve the purpose that you had wanted them to serve. And that's what's really important. And then the last thing we'll talk about real quick is charitable giving. If you're a business owner, many business owners, many family business owners are usually philanthropically focused. And by pursuing either more aggressive charitable giving while you're in a highest tax bracket, you can essentially kill two birds with one stone by getting an immediate tax deduction today, getting future appreciation out of your estate, and then getting capital gains out of your estate as well. And so charitable giving, if that's a path you're already on and an activity you and your family pursue, that's another great strategy that you can implement today or increase to help reduce the potential estate tax problem that you might face down the road. So I've thrown some ideas out here at you pretty quick and fast, which is ideally not how we like to do things, but wanted to give you a quick overview of the paths that are available to you if this is something that you want to pursue or think about in more detail. This goes without saying, all of these types of strategies are things that should have a lot more due diligence put into them if you're looking to seriously consider whether they make sense for you or not. working with your estate planning attorney, your financial advisor on which solutions might be best for you is the path that you want to go down so that you can get the best results. But just to put this back on your radar, these types of estate planning discussions or conversations you want to be having now. You don't want to wait till a year from now to start having these, because I promise you, and I had this conversation recently, the attorneys and professionals that you worked with will be busy dealing with these issues, and so you don't want to end up in a bottleneck situation. So hopefully we were able to look into the future a little bit and give you some perspective on how having a forward future thinking mindset can benefit you around planning for your wealth and then also mitigating taxes. So hope this was insightful. Read some of the content that we have in our newsletter, and if you have any questions or would like to discuss any of the topics that we talked about here today, feel free to shoot me an email or reach out. Take care.